about today?
We started the Peacekeepers about 5 years ago. We now happy to say we got 21 chapters now. We are very proud about one of the chapters outside the country in the UK, London, England. The Peacekeepers probably is what we call one of the fastest growing crime-fighting, anti-gun violence initiatives.
Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of On Location. I'm your host, Jeff Hodges, and joining me today is our very special guest, CEO of the Peacekeepers Global Initiative, Captain Dennis Muhammad. Good afternoon, Captain, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, my brother.
It's definitely an honor and pleasure to have you here, and as we get into the reasoning that brings you to Macon, Georgia, I recently read a quote where you said, it's very obvious that the relations between blacks and Hispanics and the police is deteriorating at a rapid pace. My question would be, what could the community do at an equal rapid pace to reverse and restore such an epidemic, basically?
Well, first and foremost, dear brother, you know, there is a responsibility that the community has that's independent of the police department. I think what happened in both cases is that each role has been misunderstood. We have to redefine what the community feels that the law enforcement has to do to make it safe and make it free of crime, violence, and drugs. And we have to redefine what the law enforcement community expect from the citizens or the community. What we have to do to stop this decline is we have to take responsibility as men and women in our community to clean up our own neighborhoods. I think too much we put in the responsibility in law enforcement hand, and I do believe that the problems that exist in our community is really a social problem. And of course, police officers are not social workers.
Okay. Now, not only are you the founder of the Peacekeepers, you're also for over 30 years the CEO and founder of the NEOTA project, which is a comprehensive police sensitivity training that bridges that particular gap that you mentioned. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, ENOTA is what it's called. ENOTA is an acronym that stands for Educating Neighborhoods to Obey Those in Authority. Being with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan for over 33 years, there was always a need to be able to bridge the gap between the nation and the police department, who misunderstood sometimes the role of the Nation of Islam as it regarded Minister Farrakhan's security. My job on the minister's security detail was to always meet with the law enforcement community to discuss the minister's concern. Excuse me. In doing that, I would sometimes have to meet with the law enforcement to explain to them that they have a responsibility to give Minister Farrakhan the same level of protection they would do any man of his stature or head of state. In doing that, I had to do a lot of roll call, explaining to the police officer our method, our model. We don't carry no weapons. We respect their authority. They are the police. And doing that, it put me in an arena to do sensitivity training. It was that I started this company that teaches our people particularly is to also to respect those in authority. I think
Tell us a little bit about the town meeting and what we can expect from that.
Well, you know, there's a real concern in the community here because of a killing of a man by the name of Sammy Davis Jr., who was shot and killed by a police officer in Kroger's parking lot. The people are up in arms. They don't feel that the United States Justice Department or the investigation of the Attorney General here ruling was justified. Of course, they ruled that the killing, the officer was justified in shooting his brother. Well, what we come to do, we came not only to recruit more peacekeepers, but we came also to let the community and remind them they have a responsibility as well. As we highlight this one bad incident of many incidents, we're not going to lose focus of the main incident, which is black on black violence. We're not going to let the officer get away with his killing of these young people or this young man in particular. But the numbers does not balance out. If you would look at the numbers of police shootings or killings of us, it does not equal the numbers of us killing one another. So my focus is to keep the community on point, to let the community know, yeah, that was an unfortunate situation. However, just 3 days ago, 3 people was caught and killed. Just a couple days ago, some young man had killed another young man. 2 men is in jail today because of a murder of a young man. So we don't want to lose focus. We want to stay on point as a community to continue to do whatever we need to do. So I'm here to recruit peacekeepers to get the men in the street to protect
Okay.
their own
Now,
community.
definitely, I'd be amiss if I didn't say that I too am a present for peace. I'm a peacekeeper here in Macon, Georgia, with this
I know
chapter.
that's right. I know that's right.
Now, share with my listeners the objective of the peacekeepers.
Well, the objective of the peacekeepers is to get men, particularly, not just men, women too, but men in particular. We focus on getting men to accept their moral obligations to respect and protect the women and children and elderly of the community. We feel, if more men would step up and accept their moral responsibility, we would have less crime, less violence. Most of these young men are out there committing these crimes of violence because they come from homes where there's no fathers. 70 to 75% of homes are absent of a male figure. So we're asking the men, become peacekeepers. Well, we know there are difficult things. What is the difficulty that we won't do? Sometimes religion plays a reason why we don't come together. Christians may have a problem with Muslims. Muslims have a problem with Christians. You may have a problem because you're old school, you're new school, you're rapper, you Crip, you blood, whatever. We realize that we come together for peace. It makes us common. It makes us transcend the religious differences that we may have. It makes us transcend the political differences we may have. It also makes us transcend our social differences. So we say we are present for peace. We're asking all the men to come together, and we ask the men to come together for 1 hour a week. Put aside your differences. Let us unite under one banner, under one color, under one cause, which is peacekeepers. And go into that community and talk to that young man who really, really needs a role model and a father.
I gotta say, I definitely love, as you described, the putting aside one's differences when it comes to religion and political stance. Being a peacekeeper and being in the midst of that 1 hour as we travel through the communities, interacting with the community, and the joy that I guess I could say and the reward from it is being able to provide resources that that particular community may not have been aware of.
That's right.
And being conjunct with other organizations, we bring that to them. So again, kudos to you for starting with Peacekeepers and creating such a powerful Chef Maya movement. Listeners, the significance and the importance of having such a prevalent initiative in our communities today regarding peacekeepers.
Well, it's so important because, you know, crime and violence is running rampant in our community. The major victims of the crime and violence in the community are women and children. When the women don't even feel safe in their own community, man, they sending their kids to school in an unsafe environment. We believe, Brother Jeff, that every one of us as parents want our children, best for our children. Well, you know, we just can't say we want the best, but we live in the worst community. We can't say we want the best for our children and send them to the worst schools. We have to begin to ask our people to step up and begin to recognize that we can change the current tides of the violence that's in our community. Also, man, we don't say as peacekeepers that we're going to stop crime. You don't hear that language in our conversation. You don't hear us say we're going to stop violence. You'll never stop killing. You'll never stop violence. And you'll never stop crime. But what we can do, and this is what the peacekeepers do, we promote peace. That
in regards to tonight's town hall meeting, what can we anticipate walking away with from this particular meeting?
Well, one of the interesting things that's going to be done in this town hall meeting, we got I think it's maybe about 10 to maybe 15 questionnaire survey. The people are not knowing that they're going to fill out a survey. What is very interesting I know about town hall meetings, especially when it's as emotionally charged of something like a shooting. Mm-hmm. You know, people come angry and they want to grab that mic and they want to vent. And normally they don't come to ask questions, they come to make statements.
Right.
And we're not going to have a town hall meeting where people just get a mic and go and just rip into the mayor, rip into the police chief, and get a chance to just vent, and then we leave there with nothing tangible.
Right.
We got a survey, and this survey would allow us to be able to show the police chief, show the mayor, the real concerns that these people have about the police department. When you see the survey and you see the survey get filled out and we do the results of this survey, which will come back down the road to show the community results, then you'll really see the reality of how these people feel about the police. Not no 1, 2 people to come to the mic, but we hoping to have anywhere starting off with tonight. I don't know how many people come out tonight, but we have them fill out. But we're not going to stop until at least we have 500 to 1,000 people fill out that survey. Then we're going to come back, call the press, call the mayor, call the police chief, and say, hey, this is what the people feel about your police department.
Now, you've done this, I'm sure, before, and tell us a little bit about the outcome with the previous town hall meetings you had.
Oh, man, we did this in Detroit, Michigan, man. It was very interesting. We did a survey in Detroit. We did a survey in Syracuse, New York. we did a survey in Buffalo. And one of the things we've learned when we did a survey, which is awesome, the outcome is basically the same. I already know the outcome. The mindset of the urban community is almost the same. And here's what's so surprising about it. We don't just do a survey with the community. I also do a survey with the police department. And what's so shocking is their attitude towards the community. So when you got both of them and they both is shocked with what the community say about them, and the community is shocked with what they say about the community, then what it does for me, it's clear evident that we have a problem, Houston. It's clear evident there's a problem between police and community relations, and that sets the stage for me to give training to both. Nobody goes out looking good. The community don't look good, and the police department don't look good. I got both of them humble enough to recognize they both look bad. And so that sets up the stage for me to come into that community and give both sensitivity training that will put them on the same page and build a relationship that they can work together to rid the community.
Captain Muhammad, I want to thank you for taking the time out, allowing me to interview you today and broadcast it on my show. Before you go, you have any closing remarks you'd like to share with us?
Well, I would like to say this. You know, I'm so happy to be the founder of the Peacekeepers, because the men and women who are peacekeepers in the 21 cities, these are your average common citizens. These are not the people that belong to organizations. These are the men and women that sit on the couch and they look at the 6 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock news, and they hear the horror stories about these young people killing themselves, and they don't know what to do. They feel powerless. They feel there's not going to be no end. But when they become a peacekeeper, now they feel like they're Superman, Superwoman, because now they move from that couch. They're absolutely facing that young man that they've been taught that is a killer and he's a thug and oh my God. And then when they get out there and they see that young man that they see on the 6 o'clock news, he's not what they say he is. He's just a young man that's looking for somebody to show him some love. He's just a young man that's lost. He's just a young woman that's lost. And these people who become peacekeepers, they feel so energized, because they feel they're doing something. And even though it's 1 hour, we say this: 1 hour doing something is better than 24 hours doing nothing. Right. I thank you for giving me this great opportunity, brother, and may God continue to bless you with the great work you're doing.
Appreciate you. And again,
my name is Capt Muhammad, and I'm present for peace.
My name is Jeff Hodges, your host, and I too am present for peace. And I look forward to seeing you tonight at the town hall meeting.
Yes, sir.
We're going to ask these gentlemen within a 1 minute or two to introduce themselves and share with us who they are and what they bring to the table.
My name is Dennis Muhammad. I'm the founder of the Peacekeepers. We are just witnessed in Brooklyn and Boston tolerance. These law enforcement went after two men who had no regard for human life. But they chose not to kill the brother. They wanted him alive. That's what they wanted. And they got him alive. They had every reason to take this guy out the game. But they brought a negotiator, and they negotiated. They wanted him alive. And what did that tell me? That tells me when you want somebody alive, you can have them alive.
Here, I'm Sheriff David Davis, Big County Sheriff's Office. Circumstance whenever you have a situation where that it seems like one group is targeted over another. And if you look at statistics, and that's what they show, and if it seems to would lead one to think that is a tragedy, and it's something we need to do everything we can to not continue and to.
My name is James Maxwell, the artist known as Sonny's Home, and I'm a concerned citizen. Well, I've actually had that conversation with a couple of people in authority who was asking my opinion on how the community would receive such a verdict. And I advised them that regardless of what the facts may be or the facts that you present, in the community's mind, it's just another black man that was killed by a white officer.
I'm Larry Schlesinger, I'm the rabbi at Temple Beth Israel, just a few blocks from here. Sheriff Davis said I thought that one thing that he really needed to do as we move towards a consolidated government, consolidated law enforcement agency, was that he really needed to go through the files of all the officers and identify those who may be problematic. I thought that was very, very important.
There's many cities that fought for tasers, so it wouldn't have to go to that extreme. And now we have people who could have used some kind of restraint, but I'm not in that police officer's shoes. I don't know if they really feared for their life or not. All I know is that we have to deal with these controversial shootings. And as sad as it may be, I just don't know none on the books today, out of all the ones that we know going all the way back to New York, where it was justified. It was unjustified. These police officers are not social workers. They're not on these jobs to take our disrespect. No more are we hiring them and paying taxpayer dollars to take their disrespect. Both here has to be dealt with. They need sensitivity training. We need sensitivity training.
I just want to be quick as well. Archie Watkins, City Councilman representing Ward 4, service Public Safety Chair. Organization, I guess the part that for me personally has been frustrating, I think for a lot of citizens has been that our professional standards as an organization somehow allows something like this to end up being acceptable. Not in terms of thinking about it as a murder, but just how good do you do your job, or what we've gotten away from completely with the Macon Police Department, and almost as a city, that community-oriented.
Is the plan of the peacekeepers to get the black community involved in reducing violence in the black community.
I don't think there's a man in here would disagree with me that it is our moral obligation the challenge that law enforcement have in our community. It is very difficult to work in an environment as a police officer when you see the worst of human behavior. We can hear gunshots go on in our community. We don't duck no more. Oh, ain't nothing but gunshots. Everybody else can hit the ground but us. What are you on the ground for? Man, oh, they ain't nothing but gunshots. We have become desensitized. So here they are, I try to take a proactive role, to step up to the plate, to bring some sense of peace in a community. Why is it that we're the only people that our communities is not safe for us? And you can't charge that to the police department. Right. Because 75% of the homes don't have a father in there. Huh? See, we got some issues we have to address.
But very seriously, our community, we need to support this organization.
I just want to thank you, God, for giving me the breath of life. Some people take it for granted, when in the end, that's all we really got. I feel so liberated, and thank God for the blessings that I have demonstrated. Without the demon in my life before he penetrated. Cause yes, I found another way, and now I'm situated. Well, how I see things and what kind of life to live, and what I'm bringing to the table to support my rib. Cause in the end, all that matters is how she live, and how she's gonna be when it's time to raise her kids. Cause it starts now from the day she was born. Like a cub out the wild with a family torn. Show some love, crack a smile instead of having war. In denial with a grudge to the day you mourn. It ain't worth it, feeling so worthless. Be of good service, help others flourish. Get out the hood, go to school, we need nurses. We need doctors, need lawyers, have a purpose. Life is what you make it. Have aspirations, be an inspiration. Life is what you make it. Congratulations, we're God's creation. If you wanna be, or you could be mad at the world. It's all a choice when you're living your life, right? Whether you boy or girl. As dreams become reality, just picture this big old world. And understanding that I'm sure you'll see what God meant for you to be. You can be. Cause there's a lot of opportunities. Stop the violence and the hate in the communities. We can make a difference, and it starts with you and me. And how we treat each other, how we raise our families. How we are as fathers, do we have some apathy? For the future, my only care is my after me. Cause all I care is that Nevaeh lives so happily and takes a different road. Daddy had his travesties. And when it's time, let her know there ain't no majesty. Peace and beauty ain't about being in no pageantry. So Call of Duty send you out, don't be asking me to ever war for my country, cause I don't agree. I don't believe if you innocent, cop a plea. Sitting in jail, reminiscing what it used to be. I believe in freedom and the right to be free. I believe in you, just believe in me. It's what you make.